I'm going to quote Tyson Fury here. He said, "It's pretty simple. I just have to hit him in the face a few times and he'll fall over. He doesn't have the biggest heart. He hasn't got the most resilience, and he's not the hardest to hit. When I land, it's going to be over quite quickly." That was Fury talking to ESPN, and he was speaking about Anthony Joshua. In many videos in the past, I've spoken about how Team Fury don't seem to rate AJ very highly. And they're constantly telling Tyson that this is going to be an easy fight. And I've warned of the dangers of that. How overconfidence can lead to complacency, where you can expect a certain type of fight in your mind, i.e. easy. And when you get in the ring and it turns out to be difficult, it can be overwhelming, right? You can get caught off guard. You can be shocked, surprised, because you didn't expect yourself to be in that situation. You thought this guy would be a pushover. You thought you just had to land a couple shots on his chin and he'd either be knocked out or he would be intimidated for the rest of the fight and make it very easy for you. Maybe you didn't think he'd be as fast as he turned out to be. He wouldn't be able to hit you with the shots that he's hitting you with. So I've always been a bit concerned about Fury and his team downplaying the ability and the threat that Anthony Joshua poses. When I look at Anthony Joshua's recent interviews, he seems more bullish than normal. Anthony Joshua is generally very, what's the word I can use to describe him? He's quite bland in interviews, including in the run-up to most of his fights. Doesn't really say much. You don't really get much of a vibe from him. But in the run-up to this Fury fight, which we all hope is going to be announced in the next few days, he seems far more animated than I've seen him for a long time. Far more bullish. Looks like he's got the bit between his teeth. Seems far more aggressive. And I think he's going to need to be that way in order to give himself the best chance of beating Tyson Fury. He's going to need to be the old AJ, the mean AJ, the confident AJ, the cocky AJ. That's the one he's going to need to be for this fight. And if he does turn up with the right confidence level and the right kind of mindset, then I think Tyson Fury is in for a very, very difficult night indeed. I think that Fury is probably better off, if he discovers that AJ is very sharp in the early going, he's probably better off boxing and moving rather than trying to go forward and take it to Anthony Joshua. Again, Tyson Fury's proved me wrong in the past, so maybe he'll prove me wrong this time. But at the same time, Anthony Joshua has proven Tyson Fury wrong in the past several times. Fury has picked against AJ on numerous occasions, and AJ proved him wrong. So, you want to talk about track records? Tyson Fury doesn't have the greatest track record when it comes to predicting Anthony Joshua fights. I mean, he said that in the Ruiz rematch, AJ should just attack Ruiz. Should just tighten up his defense, go forward and attack. He advised him not to try and move. He said AJ can't move. He can't box, and maneuver himself around the ring. Can't do it on the back foot. Well, he clearly underestimated Anthony Joshua's ability. And for me, he was giving AJ terrible advice, telling him to go in there and start slugging with Ruiz, because that's what got him knocked out the first time. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what mindset Tyson Fury goes into this fight with, what tactics he chooses, and what happens if in the early going he realizes Anthony Joshua is better than he's given him credit for, better than his team have told him it is. Because again, even Andy Lee, time and time again, has been saying he'll knock AJ out in 7 rounds, in 6 rounds. This is an easy fight. Shane has been saying the same thing. Tommy Fury is saying the same thing. John Fury is saying the same thing. Now, I'm sure some people are going to say, well, it's just bravado. Privately, they know that AJ is dangerous. Privately, they are taking him serious. But publicly, it's just bravado. Well, if you're a Tyson Fury fan, You would certainly hope so. Because if this is how he genuinely feels and how the team genuinely feels, I think he's going to be in for a rude awakening when he gets in that ring. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the situation. And as far as the criticisms he has for AJ, saying he doesn't have the biggest heart, he hasn't got the most resilience, and he's not the hardest to hit. When I land, it's going to be over pretty quickly. AJ doesn't have a great chin. I think we can all acknowledge that. His heart, I think he's got heart. I think he's got plenty of heart. But of course, there are levels when it comes to heart and courage. And from what I've seen, Tyson Fury is more of a natural fighter. His instincts when he's in trouble, I think, are better than Anthony Joshua's instincts. Anthony Joshua does have the look of a man who's a bit lost and bewildered when he's in trouble or when he's seriously tired. Whereas with Tyson Fury, I've never seen that look on his face. Even when he's been in trouble in fights, when he's been dropped by Steve Cunningham, Nevin Pikage, when he had the tough fights with John McDermott. Certainly in the rematch, even though it was real tough for him, I never got the impression during the fight that Tyson Fury just looked bewildered about what was going on. Certainly maybe in the first fight a bit, but not in the second fight. And that, of course, was a very long time ago. But as I say, against Cunningham, against Pikage, to me, he always looked like somebody who felt like he would get through the crisis, who knew what to do in those situations there, did the right thing, and managed to pull out the victory both times. So I would agree that Tyson Fury has got, I want to say, a bigger heart and better survival instincts than Anthony Joshua. But as I've said in previous videos, in order to make this fight about heart, he's going to need to be in a physical fight with Anthony Joshua. And in order to get to that place, you have to get past Anthony Joshua's long range and mid range punches. It's not as easy as just going in there, okay, I'm going to take the fight to him. Yeah, you can try to take the fight to him and get hit with counters. Walk into shots. It's not as easy to take the fight to somebody like him as it is to Deontay Wilder. And not to say that it's easy to take it to Wilder, but I'm just saying it's not as easy to take it to Joshua. It's more difficult because he has a back foot game and he is a better counter puncher, and he does have power in both hands, and he has more punch variety than Deontay Wilder, has better balance than Deontay Wilder. You know, with Wilder, Fury could see when he was loading up for the right hand, and he just stepped back. With AJ, there's a lead left hook up front, a lot harder to see, and he will lead off with it. He won't just throw it as like a counter or a check hook. He'll lead off with it. He'll hook off the jab. So a lot more for Tyson Fury to be wary of. Anyway, I'll let you guys tell me in the comment section below how you feel about Tyson Fury's comments here.